Dokcha begins to realize that the story of his novel has suddenly become a reality. Everyone is forced into a series of death games. The apocalypse has started. To help everyone get through the games, everyone is given an ability. And for Dokcha, of course, he's given the pirates. Yes, his anime superpower is reading fast. He may not be able to beat Gojo, but he could probably beat a Jujutsu Kaisen fan.
Yes, beat their every single one of them.
You nasty.
Sakura Sage, man behind the cam director. Here's another gigguk reaction. When you become the main character. I have no clue what this one's about. You know what it is over here. Blind reactions. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Gigguk drops, I respond. Gigguk speaks, I listen. Video drops, I react, son. You know we in there like swimwear, especially around the little edges. Sorry, that's not the point. Yeah, I'm interested to see what he's talking about. I did see the thumbnail, and I feel like it looks like he's going on a manhwa deep dive recently. You know, he covered the last one, SSS ranked something, right, in that video, and I feel like this thumbnail has a similar feel to it. So I assume he's, you know, he's moving on to the next thing, which, to be honest with you, genius IQ level play by him, right? He's done the anime thing. He does a seasonal breakdown. It's very natural to find the next thing to pivot into. And the next cousin of manga is manhwa. So I feel like that's what he's doing. I also do know that, especially since Solo Leveling was a manhwa that's been adapted to an anime, I know manhwas get adapted into K-dramas, you know, so I kind of see where he's moving and he's going with this. And, you know, I just want to see what's piqued Gigguk's interest, because he tends to have a similar taste profile to mine. So we're gonna get into this. Drop a comment down below. Do you read manhwa? Is this a manhwa? Have you read this one? We're about to get into it.
This is gonna be something special. For the longest time, anime fans had this rabid obsession with media that came from Japan and only Japan. Animation not made from the motherland? What do I look like? A cartoon fan? Reading pictures left to right? That's not how you read manga. Then, Korean webtoons blasted onto the scene, quickly carving its own niche. And
see, it's one of those things like, sometimes I'd be like, what if I'm wrong? And then other times it's like, boy, you know what you're doing.
The international community, proving to weebs that if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, but quacks like, we'll give it a pass. This even more power fantasy stories with an OP main character. If you're bored of isekai, no worries, just jump over to Korea, where we have regression, reincarnation, power climbing, and death games. We're reading through all these.
Death Game was a manhwa.
Part of the Jujutsu Kaisen fan base. But what if there was a series that takes all these elements from every one of these series you can think of, blends it all together for an unabashed love letter not only for these genres, but for fiction itself?
I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
A series that combines a meta take on every power fantasy trope you can think of. Hunter style exams, battle royale death games, legendary historical figures from the past, cosmic deities from all global mythology, interdimensional eldritch horrors that haunt your nightmares, and finally, Twitch streamers. And this is one of the most important aspects of it.
I'm being serious.
So grab your popcorn, fasten that seatbelt, and
oh my god, that seatbelt.
Today we're talking about
to your who's?
Reader's Viewpoint.
Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. So, I guess my question becomes, what's the difference between a webtoon and a manhwa? Because I think I might have gotten that wrong. I thought he was going the manhwa route, but I think this is more of a webtoon, and I don't quite know the difference. Comment down below if you know, like, off top. Just quick synopsis. Also, I see, perfect example, right? I've seen the Death's Game K-drama. I did not know it was a webtoon or a manhwa. I don't know which one. Again, help me in the comments.
Kim Dokcha is a nobody. An average office worker graduating from an average college, living an average life as a loner, whose only hobby is reading trashy fantasy novels that absolutely no one else reads. Insert the fucking Denji panel here.
Yeah, I
is the series 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, a web novel with over 3,000 chapters.
Oh my god.
One Piece fans quake at this man's dedication, except the series is so
can't get much higher.
For so long that Dokcha is the only person still reading it. Jesus. And it remains that way as he loads up the final chapter and becomes the sole person to reach the end of this novel.
If you're reading this, you will survive.
Over a decade. The lights go dark. The train is on. Crash.
He's making the sounds.
and Doctor begins to realize that the story of his novel has suddenly become a reality. Monsters spawn in the real world. Everyone is forced into a series of death games where these little munchkins settle the rules. The apocalypse has started. I say cry. To help everyone get through the games, everyone is given an ability, and for Doctor, of course, he's given a pirated copy of the entire web novel and the ability to read at super fast speeds. Yes, his anime superpower is reading fast. He may not be able to beat Gojo, but he could probably beat a Jujutsu Kaisen fan.
Yes, beat their asses. Every single one of them.
Ensuing apocalypse that he and only he knows the entire story of, Doctor realizes, oh my god, I can now be the single most obnoxious light novel reader that's ever existed.
Oh my god, he is. He has every spoiler imaginable. This is the one time that the light novel reader, I would want them to be like, well, actually, you die in the next chapter because you XYZ. Yeah, tell me that so I don't die, buddy. Help me out. I would actually listen to this guy. Would I? No, I would die. I want to listen to him. Because I don't listen to none of y'all light novel readers talking about, well, actually, director, y'all kind of annoying with it. But I can imagine this one, if I would like to think that if I was actually in an apocalyptic situation, and some guy's like, well, actually, I think I'd listen. Because don't get twisted. I might be stupid, but I'm not that stupid.
Obnoxious light novel reader that's ever existed. Stories within stories. There's a plot hook I am an absolute sucker for. Maybe it's because I've made watching stories become my job, but when you watch enough anime, you start to see all the repeated tropes, all the recurring cliches. Sometimes you start to wonder how you do differently than how the story plays out.
I do!
Plays to that fantasy to a T, as Doctor lives the story of his favorite novel and molds the events as he sees fit. You ever watch a movie or TV show and thought to yourself, man, I could solve everyone's problem if I just did this. Doctor does that.
Literally.
A major character you absolutely despise, but just keeps showing up and you're like, man, fuck this cum-stained mouth breathing.
Yes, him.
Can you just remove him from the story already?
Damn,
Doctor does that. Are you one of those people who watch videos like how to beat every game in Squid Game or how to beat the monster from a quiet place? Doctor probably made those bloody videos because he thinks he can do a better job. Doctor is your average Redditor. The world of the novel 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse doesn't just come alive. The very characters that inhabit the story become a reality, allowing him to game the system, befriend the characters he knows oh so well, making him only slightly less parasocial than your average K-pop fan, and molds the story in the way he would have gone through the original novel. Alright, I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of you are probably gonna see these panels and read some early chapters and go, this is just more solo leveling. Let's go down to chapters. Leveling up system, video game-esque abilities and interface, death games with different clear conditions. Protagonist that is OP because he has prior knowledge of the events that are about to unfold. If this was a manhwa trope exam, it'd be scoring A+ in Power Fantasy brain rot. But the series takes these cliches you are familiar with and uses it as a springboard to run in all sorts of interesting directions. Cults start to form with a ranking system based on how far people got in the original novels. They fight an East protagonist and he almost wipes the floor with them because he's so OP. Doctor meets the actual main character of the original novels and he's everything you'd expect. He's cool, calm, good looking, ruthless, perfect on the surface in every way. When this motherfucker pisses, it's probably in laminar flow. But it turns out, from the perspective of someone who's not a named character in the original story, he's kind of a dick. He's ridiculously powerful because he's a regressor who can respawn at the beginning of the story every time he dies. Hey, I talked about regression, man.
Yeah, we did. That's the video.
That he's become this nihilistic arsehole who doesn't care for anyone who can't help him progress further than the last run. And he gives up on the world at the slightest unforeseen obstacle because, well, what's the point when he can just start all over again? To the point where he gets passion from the disconnect he feels with the world. So, after
that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Slaps the shit out of him, goes hashtag not my protagonist and tells him, bro, can we just skip the emo character arc this time? Yeah, the series is meta as hell. And here's the thing.
Meta as hell.
I have a soft spot for, but only in those rare cases that the author actually takes the effort to make something interesting out of it. Most of the time, you just see a quick fourth wall break or a self-referential joke. Look, you didn't fall on my panties for once. At best, it's like a funny Easter egg, but at worst, it feels like a cheap gimmick. Now go a layer down and you see something like Bakuman or Shirobako. Stories about creating stories, where you can learn something but still be invested in the plot of these creators themselves. Then you have your One Punch Mans and Eminence and Shadows. Series that not only plays to its tropes, but embraces everything the genre is about to create a genuinely entertaining story and world.
There's a lot of ways to do meta.
Anything that it's satirizing. Now, if I were to scale omniscient readers' viewpoint against shows like these, it would land somewhere about here. This series takes the meta-narrative and explores it in a depth that I don't think I've ever seen before, with so many wild ideas I don't even know where to start. Take one of
Do we have to
Dojo's
sync it
most iconic
ourselves?
abilities, the fourth wall. On the surface, the fourth wall seems like your standard OP ability that, hey, is a reference to the fourth wall. Oh my god, so meta. A power that protects him from shit seemingly no one else in this story is able to block. It stops even the most powerful, unblockable mental attacks. It shields him from the pain of any injury. It can dampen his emotions to allow him to distance himself from some of the most horrific events he witnesses in the world.
God.
It's so powerful that even the Dokkibi, the little creatures that are meant to be running everything, aren't able to bypass fourth wall's protection. Pretty damn broken. But as he continues to encounter different situations, stuff that never happened in the way they did in the original novel, things start to get weird. He encounters his old bully from his real past, and the wall starts glitching a bit. He meets someone that plays a part in some big traumatic event that happened to him before, and it shakes violently. It resonates with character moments that meant something to him in the original story, and the more the ability begins to act out, the more you begin to realize the fourth wall is his fourth wall, the one that separates and protects him from the rules of his perception of this fictional world. But as the world of fantasy and his reality start to blend together, you see the cracks beginning to form. The fourth wall can't protect him from the real struggles of his life outside of fiction. And that's just fucking cool for a concept, while being so on point for the theme of the story, because this is a story about stories. Not just the power of a story, but the relationship between an author, the reader, and the story being told. And to do this, it has crafted this insane, intricate world with a system that all comes back to this central idea. Okay, pause for a second.
No, that sounds fire, bro.
I mentioned live streamers in the intro and how that has anything to do with this story. Well,
not really, but I'm here for it.
Everything is being live streamed to this cosmic Twitch for the enjoyment of constellations. What are constellations?
In a galaxy far, far away.
All these deities or historical figures that are watching the live stream. Because, you know, when you're a god, apparently you have nothing better to do than just to watch a subathon run by some celestial Mr. Beast.
No, literally.
Some made-up fake characters. Greek gods and goddesses. Archangel Uriel. Christopher Columbus. These are figures from our own history and mythology. If I had to make a comparison, I'd say it's kind of reminiscent of
Don't say fate.
But instead of summoning these heroic spirits to Earth to battle it out like in Drifters, they can shower their favorite contestants with subs and donos so they can use the in-game currency to buy better equipment and resources. It goes so far that people can bargain exclusive stream and sponsor contracts that allow contestants to enhance special abilities of whatever constellation they're in a contract with. Why is this even relevant?
No, that's very relevant, bro.
The power of a story is the power system in this world, whether it be these constellations wanting to sponsor someone so they can have their story represented,
a black flame dragon
someone building a powerful story themselves to get recognized by all these celestial beings.
I like
your
that.
Abilities are tied to the power of the stories you create or the stories you choose to take on, and that's the thing.
Interesting.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah,
I believe it.
I went to the convenience store today because I was craving fried chicken. They were out.
That's
That's
not
a
where I'd
story,
go.
not a powerful one, unless
Tragedy.
of course you know the pain of being deprived delicious Lawson's fried chicken. What is a good story? How do you craft something that will resonate deeply with an audience? And what if your strength was correlated to the strength of your own personal story? Will your story include some grand historical feat, an epic sea battle, or will it become the stuff of legends, passed down through generations, eventually
That's actually kind of
transformed into
fucking
something
fire, bro.
mythical? It's a system based on anything and everything you've ever seen in fiction. And if that's not one of the coolest concepts for a power system you've ever heard of, I don't know. Go back to doing sign language with Naruto or some shit. I've just spent over
11 minutes.
Thank you, Alan. Trying to convince you that Omniscient Reader is different. It's not like other power fantasy manhwa. And I'm here to tell
That's
you,
what you say.
it's not. For a very long time. Credit where credit is due. Doctor is far more likable than your typical bland, self-insert, overpowered protagonist. He has great chemistry with the various cast members, but for a very long stretch of the series, it tries to present you with the idea that he's just an ordinary dude, an underdog, overshadowed by the actual protagonist of the novel. He's just like you for real. Yet we can clearly see that he's really smart, charismatic, a natural leader who knows the solution to every problem no matter what the scenarios throw at him. One of the running jokes to keep him grounded is that everyone thinks he's just really ugly ugly, and bro, if this dude is meant to be ugly, I might as well commit Alt F4 in my life right now.
No,
How much fucking hope
honestly.
do I have? It takes
Honestly.
a bit of commitment before the series even starts.
That's a
to
good
go
twist,
to plan.
though.
We are 200 odd chapters in right now, and only recently have some of these characters been put in interesting situations that challenge their worldview, or had bombshell revelations that give us an insight behind what makes these characters tick. And yet, all this time, I feel like we are just at the start. This is a series based on a completed web novel with 551 chapters, and we are just about a third of the way through of the story and have yet to fully get into the meat of it. Every novel reader I've seen has said it only continues to get better, wilder, paying off all the characters and systems to elevate it to a whole new level. And while the last thing I want to do is make smug novel readers feel more superior than they do, the series has shown enough shades of greatness.
Oh, you're about to
the
get
foundation
waxed.
for so many interesting things that I'm actually inclined to believe them. But as for right now, to me, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint has just been the ultimate love letter for the genre I can't seem to get away from. An amalgamation of all your isekais, regressions, death games, power fantasy stories that so many people write off, but with a drive to try and do so much more. And if you have the patience, my gut is telling me that we're witnessing a series that is about to evolve into something truly special.
No, honestly, I'm sold, bro.
OP man kicking ass with fantastic art and cool action. That's win-win in my books.
Is it not on the channel now? Probably. Nah, don't promise that. Let it be. That was gigguk when you become the main character. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint manhwa or webtoon, whichever one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This manhwa, this webtoon is exactly what I'm talking about when I say just because there's a bunch of tropes of something, just because something feels meta, you don't have to stick there. You can just do the one thing that's different that just puts it ahead above everything else. That just gives it that little bit of lift. You ever been walking down a sidewalk and all of a sudden you just randomly trip as if the road came up to meet you? You turn around, you're mad, you look back and you see that the lip of the road is literally just high enough to trip you. I feel like that's exactly what this is. He said it. It's full fucking meta, man. There's regression, there's death games, there's fourth wall breaking, there's power fantasy, there's a bland MC in it, but it's not our MC. It feels very meta at a lot of times, but it does hits, bro. Do you know why? I think it's cool that a lot of mythological people just exist and they're watching. I like the idea because this is something, you know, not to get religious or anything like that. It's something that I've always said. I find it interesting how sometimes there's like deities that could just be watching us. Horrible things are happening. Horrible things are happening. You, me, around the world, in the universe, whatever it may be, in whatever medium or real life or whatever it is, right? And there's just deities that are just sitting by watching, just like, huh, interesting. Didn't see that coming. What a weird twist. But in this Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, it's actually that. The deities, the mythologicals are actually watching. And they're just not just watching, they're participating. You win, let's say you win the favor of Zeus, and let's say your original power, just to do a play on some avatar, your original power was like fire. You're gifted like the ability to control fire. But you caught the eye of Zeus, and Zeus is like, hey yo, I kind of like what that dude is doing over there. I'm gonna imbue him with some of my power. Bam! Now you shooting lightning, son. You know what I mean? I like the concept that they're watching, and like maybe you just pray or believe hard enough and the God actually responds. I like that they'll put money in your pocket so you can do what you gotta do. I like that maybe if you're me and you're a bit blasphemous and you piss one or two off, you know, they might be like, yo, I'm gonna give somebody a mission to come take you out because, you know, you don't seem to have the kind of respect I feel like I want you to have. So now I gotta humble you, bro. I like that concept a lot. I also like the concept that you could just be doing your own thing and like you're a regular person, you got your power, you know, you didn't read the manhwa, you don't know nothing about it, but you're just like on a come up, bro. You're just grinding it out, you're saving hoes, you're killing monsters, you're kissing babies, because you know that's what heroes do. They high five people and kiss babies, right? And one guy is just like, yo, I like his cut, G. I like his cut. I'm gonna send him a little something, something. And then bam, you get a little bit of money. Bam, you get a power. It's so dope. And this is one part of it that I'm just talking about. I didn't even touch on the 9 other parts of this that he's talking about. The death games. You think about Alice in Borderlands or the death games or death game itself. You think about the powers and like the system, you know, you think of solo leveling. I don't have a problem with it. Like, honestly, I like that he called that One Punch Man and Eminence, because those two shows are perfect examples of, like, yeah, you know the trope, you know the meta, now flip it on its head. Do exactly what the trope in the meta is, but make it your own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I feel like a lot of times we get caught up in watching the tropes and the metas, and we kind of want the same thing to happen over and over. Why? Because it kind of gives us this comfort. It feels familiar. It's not too out of the ordinary, and it's something that's easier to digest. The more you see it, the more you're just like, I just enjoy this. This is what I like. But me, nah, I'm not like that. I can only eat the same meal for like a couple days straight, maybe a couple weeks straight. Then I gotta switch it up, bro. Even my workout regimen, I change my workout regimen every 6 to 8 weeks. Not because, one, because it's good for the muscle confusion, and it's good to keep your body guessing and adapting, right? But two, at a certain point, it gets monotonous. Ooh, that big word. Good job. Good job. It gets monotonous. Damn it, I messed it up the second time. Whatever. You know what I mean? It gets repetitive. It gets monotone. You just feel like you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And next thing you know, it's your 13th reason. Or next thing you know, you just stop watching or reading because you're sick and tired of the trope. I feel like this, what gigguk conveyed in this, it takes all that and it just makes it its own. I like the concept that he read it, right? He read it. And because he read it, he's not the actual MC. There is an actual MC. And it's like, oh my God, I have to help the MC because I already know what he's gonna go through. And like, I have to make sure he doesn't go through that. It's an interesting, such an interesting topic. I'm not gonna lie. This is once again one of those ones. I pray to God Almighty, whatever deity is out there watching and listening or protecting me or after me, whichever one of y'all, please let this become an anime, bro. Please let this become something I can watch. And you're probably like, why don't you just go read it? Why don't you just go look for it? I'm a blind reactor. God forbid in a year or two this gets adapted and YBR wants to do blind reactions, but my dumb ass already read the whole thing, so I know it's gonna happen. I don't wanna do that. I wanna give good, strong, genuine reactions. Because that's what y'all come for. But that aside, yeah, this looks fire. This looks fire. I'm not gonna hold you. I definitely gonna add this to my list of things to watch or things to read, like SSS Rank Hunter. And this, if I ever start reading manhwas or webtoons, those first two I'm starting, bro. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sorry, I said buts and I got excited. Might be. But yeah, stick to it. We're here. Stick the landing. All in all, I say that to say, I like the concept of this webtoon, manhwa, whatever. I like the concept. I like that it's gonna take something that seems very normal. It takes the tropes, it's gonna flip it on its head. I like the idea that even he's not immune to his own cracked, ability, where like the ability protects him early on, but later on becomes, I don't want to say it becomes a hindrance, but it kind of starts to turn on him a little bit. You know what I mean? I kind of like that concept a lot. This definitely piqued my interest. Gigguk, I don't care what anybody says. If this becomes a manhwa webtoon channel, I don't care, bro. You could do both. Don't let them put you in a box, son. Break the meta or the fourth wall, whichever you want to do. We're gonna end this one here. Comment down below, have you read this manga, manhwa, webtoon, whatever it's called? Did you enjoy it? Is it worth the pickup? Do you know what the streets are saying about it possibly getting adapted into an anime? I don't think it is. I don't think we're even close, because from my understanding, there is already a manhwa, and then they're making it into a webtoon. It's a 550 manhwa. It's a 200 something at the webtoon level. I can imagine if they're gonna try and make it to an anime, we'd probably get, like, I don't know how they'll adapt that. So just let me know what the streets are saying. Have you read it? Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Don't spoil nothing. I appreciate y'all. I'm your man behind the cam. As always, never, ever, ever forget. Stay nasty, y'all. You wanna go? Oh, right, I'm really fucking shaking, bro.